Welcome to Chilltime with Jose. I'm your host and your only person here, Jose. I was actually thinking the other day that I should actually get Ruffleco and Tam on here actually, but I'm just waiting for my overlay with two people overlay, and I might actually bring them on the show to talk about the Art of Happiness project, because I've actually been wanting to talk to Ruffleco about his also Tam as well actually, both of them about they left CS:GO and where they're going to now essentially, because the main thing what I want to really communicate to the people who feel like all they have to do is just jump ESIC at every single turn is that it's not a good thing, okay? It's not a good thing that people are doing that sort of shit to people. Basically, some of the people who got their year banned still from ESIC are not really making anything about it. They're just whining about ESIC over and over and over again, instead of actually doing something about it on the meantime. Now, that's why I want to get them on, because they're actually doing a podcast and stuff like that. Any WoW tonight? No, there's going to be no WoW tonight, because I think I got my lobby, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what I've got after this, but I got my Among Us lobby at 10, so no WoW today. Also, as well, I got my cables, and I got my all my cables, my cable ties for tomorrow, so I can tie up the all the cables for the video card and all the cables for my power supply, which is going to happen later on. Now, the other part is, of course, ESIC has been a bit slow with the AU scene at the moment, and nothing's really. I think only a few people have had their things changed. I think Pears was one of them, I believe, but he quickly deleted his post. Not entirely too sure why, but apparently, according to Pears, he was unbanned, but I'm not terribly too sure. Don't quote me on it. He might have read his letter incorrectly or whatever, because he quickly deleted it. So that might have been the case. Overall, ESIC's doing a lot of things at NA and EU with the big betting scandals, and a lot of the bet agencies have got involved, as what we've been told from Richard, and told from Richard's conversation with ESIC. And I feel like that's getting close to its conclusion shortly, where they're going to absolutely annihilate the scene quite a lot. And it's going to probably to ricochet into a lot of Valorant scene as well. And, the Valorant scene I'm going to say right now, it's got a lot of those people that, either operate shady gambling sites or stuff like that, or just known hustlers and grifters that are there, essentially. That were, that everyone remembers from the old CS:GO days, but, no one actually remembers them in Valorant, because those days are long gone. Now let's get to the first things first. Okay, so the first story we're going to talk about this. Okay, so there's a match between, I believe it was Velox and Big Chillin', and there was also a match between X13 and Headshot Kings. Okay, so Headshot Kings, this is the match I'm going to talk about in question. Okay, so there's two matches. So the first match had a bit of an issue as well with the DDoSing, but this one had a unique issue where basically players were being randomly DDoSed, taken offline. So for example, Talon, he was the first person to get DDoSed, and they brought in Bolt, and he got DDoSed, and then they brought in, I believe it was, I'm trying to think who was there last. Basically they were subbing in Bolt and Talon, who were the original lineup. They were both being DDoSed. So I think they brought in Bolt for the second map, and then Bolt got DDoSed because he was playing well, and essentially Headshot Kings were essentially being DDoSed while they're playing X13. Obviously, Headshot Kings did a reverse sweep to win, and it just begs the question, in the NA scene, there's good morning, Nubage. There is in the NA scene, it's what is going on here? There's two advanced games that have been delayed and impacted by these DDoSings, and seriously, if NA is getting this problem was solved back in 2015. But something's really off. Something is really off, where players or other stuff like that are essentially operating into a, not as players as per se, but seemingly there seems to be some sinister little role here in the advanced scene, where players are grabbing other players' local IPs off different servers and essentially DDoSing them effectively. Now, a lot of these players as well have been going onto VPNs now. They've been going, someone promoted the exit lag link as well, for the VPN just for CS:GO, and I can post my link as well as going to help them out, but decided not to, because I thought that would be a kind of a mean thing to make a bit of dosh on the side when these players just want to play the game. Now, basically, I think it's the Danish Alana, which is Norte. I think he's from Dust 2, I believe. in before I get it wrong. Nice from HLTV and Dust too, yeah. Good VPNs are expensive though. True. Exalag does, decent job as a VPN. But yeah, let's just talk about it first of all. So basically Norte noticed the problems. Like seriously, like this was a problem like 5 years ago. Like what is happening here? And also Maxwell from the game earlier, as I said, basically said he says earlier today, called an IP, got a VPN, still got hit offline on Tuesday. Everyone who has not had this issue, get a VPN, else everyone get a new mana. And like a lot of people here is like it's basically here, she's basically said it's not with TeamSpeak because my team doesn't use it. It has to be from practice when we join other team servers and somehow someone is able to grab our IPs. I heard from a source that a team had an IP grabber plugin on their server. Now, this is a fucking problem if that is true from Exige. I believe Exige is from, another advanced IGL. And yeah, that is a bit of an issue. That's coming to become a thing on the NACSGO scene, where players are grabbing players' IPs, seeing if they can DOS them, and that's essentially it. It's actually really just basically breaking the integrity of the game. If all you're doing is sitting at home with your friends DDoSing someone because your bet fucking goes wrong because you're absolute shit. He's from already out of playoffs, but he's just saying overall that's been a problem the entire time in Advanced. And it's good to see that Danish A Norte, as I call them, has highlighted this issue, because I think this is going to be a big creeping issue if this is not nipped in the bud early, and players and teams who grab IP or have plugins on their scrim servers are not punished for this. Like if you have an IP grabber plugin on your server, got to be a very good reason or your team starts getting DQ'd, okay? And that's why I feel like these sort of things are going to do. Like they're going to have serious ramifications, because some of these players are like losing potential ESA premier spots because of one fuckwit who can't take loss on his bet or doesn't like a team or whatever, trying to like basically justify DDoS an entire game because he's having a whinge or whatever. I don't think any of these advanced playoff matches are going to betting sites, to be honest though. So I think it might be just one salty person overall, essentially getting rid of it all, like basically DDoSing. And it really highly impacted this game, even though Headshot Kings did win in the end 2-1. Given that they should have really won 2-0 according to them. Like if you see the ADR here with a lot of their players, like you should see that they realistically should have won 2-0. I mean, when you have a player on like 135 ADR and everyone else is like average and nearer to the other teams, so yeah. Yeah, that's what used to happen back in 2014-15. One team would be up quite a bit, and then they knew the game was getting DDoSed. Yeah, that's the weird part is, like, basically the DDoSing, like, started when the game started, essentially. And I'm really, really disappointed in this as well. Like, I have no idea whoever in the American scene thinks this is funny, or thinks this is a good thing, or thinks this is, like, it's justifiable. You are literally scum of the earth, and I hope you never get fucking anywhere in your fucking CSGO career, or any career that you're trying to make out of, because you're doing an absolute scumbag thing by ruining other people's careers because you leave a lost a match, you're salty better, or whatever the fuck, okay? Like, it's really, really fucking sad to see. Now, no one's blaming the victims, by the way. Like, everyone's like, oh, try to get reset Erdo, try to get a VPN, see if that works. They're calling these guys, they're calling these other guys like scum of the earth, He's like really, like, Danish is really, really quite pissed off. And yeah, and also, like, basically someone said he knew who they were, but deleted their tweet, and essentially the guy's like, hey, tell us who they are so we know. So not to scrim them. Now, this is the first time that scrimming has been a kind of an issue. Like, if you guys remember the scrimming back in the old days where Forza kept turning Go TV on for their scrims, and a lot of players, I think it was Peacemaker who mentioned it from Mad Lions back in the day. And if this is coming from scrims once again, this is going to be like, guys, all I'm going to say is that people are going to realize they're not to scrim with your team if you're fucking guilty of this stupid shit. So just stop. Just stop. Okay? Otherwise, teams are just not going to scrim with you and you get no experience whatsoever. Now, next up is, since I want to talk about that for quite a bit, next up we're going to go for a more personal thing, because yesterday I received a fucking ungodly amount of subs yesterday. If you guys don't know, I received about 70 subs yesterday while I was rating on WoW. Like, 70 fucking subs. So I'd like to thank Carlos for that. And also, of course, you know, I am getting a bit worried because when I get big donations like this, I don't know how to respond. I don't know if you know, someone's either drunk or like, you know, in the right state of mind or anything like that for like, you know, whether they're going to charge it back or not. But anyways, he said he was right frame of mind. He 100% intended to do it. He's 32, not 16, referring to the guy who kept, you know, scumming. But yeah, it was a big day yesterday. I got 70 subs because of that. I think TikTok Shot gifted 1. I think another person gifted 2. Rosie also resubbed. It was a interesting day yesterday. It was like fucking amazing. I'm just absolutely speechless about it. It's my first time that my channel's ever had triple digits in subs. Like, my first time I've ever had triple digits in subs. I'd hold on to that money for quite a bit. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hold on money for at least 30 to 40 days, okay? To outset the chargeback period. Like, I've got money, I've got savings, so it's not really a big of an issue for me. Now, anyways, of course I hang on to the money for just a bit because, you know, just being careful and all. But anyways, let's just get back to the news. I just really wanted to shout that out. It's really appreciative of it as well to get about, I think it was like 350 USD from subs, or 250 USD, which is insane, which is like 350, 400 AUD. And that's in one day, okay? So that means, like, you know, my day right now is $80 US, okay? Thought I'd have a bit of a joke there. But yeah, like, I was really appreciative of that. I had a good day of raiding, then I had a bad day towards the end side, and goes great. And then we had a good day on, we killed Sire afterwards, like within 1 attempt, so I was really happy with it. But you're getting bigger, yeah, problems with getting bigger as well. I'm gonna have like people just dig out my past, and I'm gonna get cancelled one day or another. Like, I've said some things that I either regret or I'll stand by, you know what I'm saying? And those things will come back to haunt me in the end, like, to be realistic. So I'll get big for a bit, and then someone will try to cancel me, and then, you know, go down or up depending on how the drama goes. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, to stick to the truth. Well, the thing is, like, you know, there's things I do regret and things I, you know, do like, but either way, I'm going to have pitchforks, but, you know, we'll see what we can do, okay? But either way, next up, we're going to go to Group D of the ESL Pro League. So, most things you didn't say on stream, so that's alright. Oh, no, I said some of these things on stream. But it's nothing like too serious. It's just like one word taken out of context and they can go straight away for the jugular, because a lot of people do that. That's why I say most. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, let's take a look at Group D. So Group D, Virtus Pro, EG, and Liquid. This is known as the group as death because I'll tell you one thing, Endpoint's not fucking getting out of it. Okay? So let's talk about Group D, okay? Endpoint, you know, like, Endpoint, like, seriously, I gotta say something about Group D. ESL, what are you guys doing here? Like, shit, like, if you didn't really want Endpoint to have a chance, like, can you imagine, like, what did Endpoint deserve to be put on a fucking group with Astralis, Fnatic, EG, VP, and Liquid? Like, what did poor Endpoint do? But anyways, let's talk about Group C here, because Group C was on last week. Clown fucking 9. Okay, Cloud9 had a chance to qualify to playoffs. I think they had to have like Furia win or something like that. Cloud9 to beat MIBR and Gambit to beat Team 1 or something like that. It was some crazy like thingo, okay, some crazy like win-loss, whatever it is, to have the perfect head-to-head scenario where Cloud9 would go on round difference, like through to the next round. And Gambit won, obviously, that happened. And then Cloud9 lost to MIBR, which completely fucked the chances because they had to win. They needed Gambit to beat Furia. That's right. They need Gambit to beat Furia. That's right. And C9 to beat MIBR. That's right. It was Gambit to beat Furia because Gambit beat Furia, of course, because that's expected. Because Shiro God. And then Cloud9 couldn't do it on their end, okay? So basically, if Cloud9 won, they would have qualified because they lose the head-to-head tiebreaker against Navi because they lost to Navi. And poor Ryan, man. I watched Ryan's Twitter feed, and the guy was just, you know, honk, honk, sad honking noises. And yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Cloud9. And I'm going to say here, like, given the quality of teams in their group, like probably Gambit, Furia, and Na'Vi, they probably did pretty good to have a chance in playoffs, to be honest. I mean, some people were going like, oh, 24 million spent on this. I mean, look at the teams that they're fucking versing, man. Like Gambit, Furia, and Na'Vi. Like, seriously, Na'Vi should be topping this group. Like, if you want to be disappointed in any one team in this division, it's Na'Vi. Like, Na'Vi should be topping this group. Like, no way fucking Gambit should be topping this group. But yeah, like, Cloud9 had a chance to get in. Like, in my opinion, I don't think you can swipe too much at Cloud9. Like, you don't think you can swipe too much. I felt like they weren't going to get in. Like, I was going to tell you this guy now, I didn't think they were going to win. Like, they weren't going to get into playoffs. Like, I was going to say, yeah, they're getting eliminated. But at least they put up a fight. I mean, come on. Like, you know, you lose to MIBR, but, you know, you beat some pretty decent teams. Like, you know, you beat Furia, of course. That's why you needed Furia in the head-to-head. Like, so, like, in the end, you know, Cloud9 lose in a, you know, a very tough division, I guess. You know, a really, really hard division to get through on, because, you know, like, Gambit and Furia are going to probably stand number 1, number 2, and Na'Vi most definitely going to stand number 3, you know? And also, not to mention as well, I'm going to tell you guys as well, like, a lot of people shitting on Cloud9, but you look at the matches, like, the matches are pretty close. Like, you know, you can be like, oh, 2-0, this is an absolute drubbing, they're shit. But look how close it is, like, seriously. Like, this is a close, like, loss. Like, this is what I always said. It's like, Cloud9 aren't that bad. It's just they have an issue with, you know, no composure towards the end game. It's a thing you can solve eventually through psychology and stuff like that. You know, like, anyway. But you get what I mean about this. Like, you know, this is close. Like, this is like, you know, little 1% is going either way, and you can essentially win a few maps. Like, you know, let's just say, you know, they win and they make that 18 instead of 17, and MRBL's on 15. They, you know, basically clutch it in the end. And yeah, you know, in the end, they lost obviously to MRBR. Good to see Bolts back in the lineup. And yeah, like, you know, I don't think it's whatever. Zeppo and Floppy Little Ninja Fuse and then lost the next round. That's a bit of an unfortunate. It happens at times. Okay, I can tell you guys now, it happens at times where, like, you win a round of a Ninja Diffuse and next round you get absolutely blasted out of the park. It's happened a lot of times before. Now, next up, we got Group D. So Group D, all I'm going to say is Endpoint. Honestly, Cloud9 got more respect in that group. Yeah, definitely. I didn't expect Cloud9 to make playoffs, okay? I'm going to be honest. As I said, didn't expect Cloud9 to make playoffs. Now, with Group D, I'm going to say is Endpoint be ready to be 0-5. Okay, like, Endpoint's not getting out of this group. I don't know why they've put, like, a Tier 1 team in a pack of Tier 1 wolves, okay? Like, Endpoint's like the little sheep. And, like, all 5 teams in that group are going to, like, basically pummel them in multiple different ways, because none of those players, maybe Thomas or Flames, have literally a chance in this group, because they're all going to get absolutely fucked by it. All these other teams. They may take Fnatic. I don't think they're going to take Fnatic, but Fnatic have not been playing well lately. But they're not getting out. I can tell you another thing, Fnatic aren't getting out either. Like, I'm going to say now, your 4 teams you're going to look at, they're going to be competitive. It's going to be Astralis, EG, VP, and Liquid. Like, those are the 4 teams you're looking at. Endpoint and Fnatic aren't going to get in. Like, Endpoint and Fnatic, you might as well just cross them off your lists, because they are not getting anywhere near close to an ESL Pro League playoff spot. Okay, and Endpoint's probably coming back to ESA Premier next season. Okay, because unless they're a partnered team, which I don't think they are, they're probably coming back to ESA Premier. Now, next up, we can talk about DreamHack Masters. So basically, they got the invites here. So essentially, full list of teams with all the qualifiers and stuff like that is Blastralis, Na'Vi, G2, FaZe, Gambit, Mouse, Vitality, VP, Big, Furia, Spirit, Pain, who got in through the NA qualifiers, or NA, winning the NA tournament, Heroic, Complexity, Fiend, and Extra Salt. If you guys are wondering who Fiend are, Fiend is the Voivoda roster. So essentially, a org signed them up, and it wouldn't be, I can tell you guys now, wouldn't be surprised. Like, I was waiting for them to be signed up for an org, given the fact they've got a DreamHack Masters spot. Now, essentially, this would take place in a studio location, but you can't, do ESL Pro League lands either. And yeah, so in the end, basically, this will be a pretty decent tournament. I'm going to say overall that this is going to be a big, big chance for Heroic to unveil their new roster here. Like, you want to see how good this Heroic roster is going to be with Tezes, Refresh, Storm, Cadian, and Sush in it. And I feel like, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Heroic's not going to win the tournament. Like, I'm going to say this tournament is going to be between Virtus.pro and Gambit to win. Like, I don't think any of the old stars down here, like, Stralis, FaZe, Na'Vi, and stuff like that, are going to be, honestly, to be able to stand up against the Gambit and Virtus.pro, like, stomping at the moment, because they're, in form and absolutely punishing everyone in online at the moment. Now, teams to watch out for is probably Team Spirit, obviously, and Heroic as well. And Vitality, okay, Vitality as well. But Vitality have made some really strange changes with, getting rid of Navera and stuff like that. G2 and FaZe probably wouldn't see too much of them, like in the playoffs. Na'Vi as well, like Na'Vi's not playing so well. Fiend, unfortunate Fiend, Complexity, and Extra Salt. It's going to be swept to the side very early on. Like, I don't think they are... Sorry, guys, just answering a DM. It's a bit urgent for my lobbies, but as you can see here, like, I feel like Pain, Complexity, Fiend, and Extra Salt, they're probably going to get knocked out pretty early. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to make it through for very much longer. Main reason why is that they don't have the X factor that all these teams in the top 8 do, and they don't have it. However, I feel like, Complexity, Extra Salt, Fiend, and Pain may be able to take, games off some of the Tier 1 teams that are struggling, like Vitality, like Mouse, like Na'Vi, like G2. Like, one of these big giants here are due to fall here. Like, they're definitely due to fall. Now, next up is basically talking about ESL Pro League. As you can see here, Gambit clutched, Cloud9, ouch. They actually put that in the brackets. I mean, Striker really, really, really doesn't like Brian, does he? He puts this in the first sentence. If Extra Salt can win BO3, I'll be impressed. Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, Extra Salt's got to win a BO3 there. Now, here's the interesting ones, okay? So, Singularity, benched Ramoy. I'm going to say it's because Ramoy's going elsewhere. That's what I'm thinking. I think Ramoy is going elsewhere. Because I'm going to say that Ramoy has been Singularity's best player. And Singularity has been playing so poorly in ESA Premier. I don't think it's a Ramoy thing. Okay, I think Ramoy's finding a different team. Like, Ramoy's finding a better team. Singularity should have been eliminated last season, but they got a rope of life with Team Secret not being able to build a team in the end. And yeah, like, basically, I'm gonna say he is not wrong about this, because Singularity's core changed way too fucking much. Like, I think he was the first transfer that Singularity transferred in. And then after that, I think about 15 or 20 transfers happened to that Singularity roster. Like, I was like, I'm sitting here with Singularity being like, guys, you guys need to stop fucking transferring your core every fucking, 5 days. It's not the team that is failing, it's the management that is failing. And if you can't keep your players away from, Astralis and big Danish teams, then, you're not going to keep your ESA Premier spot. They've lost it, twice now. You're not going to keep it. You can't keep changing your core. You gotta entice your players to really work at Singularity and really believe that they can get ESL Pro League. Do something what Trix did. Trix, none of their players left out of that team. No Hundred, Hundred's team, nobody was, dealt with. No one was sold and barreled with. The only person that left that team was Borub to Heroic. And and in the end, they picked up Bubsky in the end. I think a lot of teams got to realize that you cannot keep wheeling and dealing and then expect to stay up in ESA Premier. It was a lot of players. What I'm talking about, the entire ESA Premier stint after Ramoy was transferred in. This is probably 2 to 3 seasons ago. It's been fucking tons. Tons of players. And you'll see what I mean. Seriously, Singularity, you got problems. You need to get people to stay in your team. Maybe sign a big coach. big inspiration where people believe that this person's going to build the next team. Otherwise, like this wheeling and dealing, you're not going. You're going to go through teams like your roster's gone through players in the ESA Premier. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so pretty much, essentially, like, I think Ramoy's been picked up by a better team, to be completely honest, because he's honestly probably one of the better players in there. He switched to AWPing roles and stuff like that as well to try and help the team out when they didn't have an AWP or anything like that. And yeah, so basically at the moment I got No 10, Iceberg, Larson, SMF, and Ramoy being benched. I won't be surprised if this roster is deorged, like they just don't represent them anymore. And Singularity find a new team. There's a lot of teams they can pick up pretty easily that don't have an org. And yeah, like in my opinion, like, you know, I know I'm putting Singularity on blast. I know a few of their managers and stuff like that, like all rightly. Like I know I'm friends with them as well, but it's kind of a wake up call that you guys have been wheeling and dealing for a long time, and you're reaping the reward for wheeling and dealing is that you get punished and you lose tournaments and stuff like that. Like that's what happens in the end. And I understand the circumstances that a lot of big teams were chipping away at your team, but like, you know, you can't have the Danish shuffle keep happening every 2 months to your team. You got to keep your players at the roster essentially. Now, next up is Mad Lions reveal an interesting lineup. So, yeah, so Mad Lions to build a international lineup. So they pick up Cuban, the VP coach, the ex-VP coach. I'm going to say probably a downgrade from Peacemaker, but nonetheless, you know, he's led the Big Virtus Pro team. So in the end, they've got Musaman as an assistant coach. I think Sorsol, JL, Keen, Warrior2K, Tudson, and TMB. Now, Tudson's a good pickup. Warrior2K is a good pickup as well. Haven't heard of Keen yet. And JL, I believe he used to play for Hellraisers at one point. And Sorsol as well. Now, not sure how this lineup's going to go with like communication-wise because they're from many different countries. I mean, you got Spain, Lithuania, Latvia. Probably most of them speak English, I assume. So, you know, because Danes have very, very good English. Now, Mad Lions were thinking of getting bigger players. I don't think Mad Lions were ever going to get any big players, to be honest. I mean, they're probably going to get big players in the tier 2 scene and stuff like that, but not big players like, you know, tier 1 standard players and stuff like that. JL's not a bad player, according to some advanced players. Yeah, I've casted JL before. Like, JL, I'm trying to think which team he was in. I'll check quickly, but I'm very sure I've casted JL before. I must be thinking of JR from Hellraisers, but I'm very sure I've casted JL before as well. Just trying to check the matchup. Because it wasn't for Mad Lions, it's for another game. For another team. Yeah, Excellency, that's right. He was in the Polish team. And he was quite good. Like, he was quite good. Like, I've casted him before. And, like, he was getting the frags. He was getting some great 2Ks and 3Ks as well. So I've got to say here, like, you know, the pickups, Tudson, that's a good pickup. Like I'm going to say, Tudson's been with the Team Secret Boys for a long time. Has been a really serviceable pole in that team. Warrior2K, he's been performing pretty well. TMB, probably going to say, he's probably like the second best player, like Danish player with the rifle up, you know, with Tezes from that Copenhagen Flames roster ages ago, because I casted TMB as well. And like overall, like a lot of people expecting Mad Lions to pick up this great roster that was going to storm the scene like Complexity and Cloud9. And realistically, all I'm going to say is this, okay? Like, all I'm going to say is this. Is that, like, who perpetuated the rumor that they're getting tier 1 players? Like, that's what I'm going to say. Like, who perpetuated that rumor? Because I tell you one thing. It wasn't me. Like, it wasn't me. Like, I'd never actually, I just don't know. Like, someone was, like, expecting them to, like, unveil, like, a super roster. I'm sitting there going, like, dude, like, most of the fucking free agents are already, like, tied to a team. I never heard of Keen before. Yeah, like, I'm not sure. Like, a lot of players were expecting, like, big names. And I'm sitting there going, like, guys, like, there's no big names that are on the free agency anymore. Like, it's not like the other time. You remember back in the old days where it was, like, 30 players on the free agency you could just pick up and, like, make a roster out of. Half of those guys, like, 3/4 of those guys are contracted now. Like, they're not free agents anymore. Like, they're not free agents at all. Really, really confused. So it's decent? Okay. Well, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm like, okay, this could be a good lineup. But I wasn't expecting much out of Mad Lions. I was like, hey, you got a new lineup. That's good. Because you know what I said before about Mad Lions? How they wouldn't make a lineup and wouldn't put in the effort? Well, they put in the effort and proved me wrong, okay? So congratulations, Mad Lions. Now, everyone, you know, of course, you know, people are going to go in, like, be like, Flashpoint, blah, 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 not good teams. Well, you haven't seen these players play together yet, have you? So they could be a good team, and you just don't fucking know it yet. So you should just shut your yap, watch them for a few series, and see if, you know, improving and doing better things, you know? But either way, next up is Mouse Sports got eliminated by... This is the thing, okay? Stunned. Look at the team. What do you mean? They got stunned in a BO1. Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, of course you expect Mouse Sports to play better, but they're playing against a decent team of Frenchies. Like, in a BO1 where it could go either way. Like, you know, BO1s can go either way. Like, you know, one player has a bad map and stuff like that. And it was a close vertical affair. Like, they lost, I think it was 16-13. And I'm like, sitting there going like, this isn't a bad team. Like, Double Pony on a team that, like, are very easy to beat. Like, Jocko, he basically helped out LDLC get into ESA Premier. NBK's been a veteran. He's played with Vitality and OG. Like, it's not his first rodeo. Body, Afro, they've been up there before. And Lucky as well, he's been up there before. So, like, I'm not terribly too sure what they were expecting, you know? Like, Mouse being eliminated by a decent team. Like, it's not a scrub together random Russian pug team they got eliminated by. It's actually a fairly decent French team. And not to mention, these guys play with each other. Like, I saw MBK play with Body, Lucky, and Afro at DreamHack Bring Your Own Computer tournament. It's not like these guys haven't played together before. Because they played with Zerator, one of the biggest French streamers on Twitch. And he was doing some charity drive, you know? Like, he was doing some charity drive to... I think it was to help the children, Save the Children Foundation, which DreamHack, you know, always has a table there. And they were trying to raise $300,000, which they did. And basically, one of the dares was that I think if they reach 50k, they would compete in the BYC tournament. And that's what they did. And they actually almost won. They got into grand finals and lost to Little Mix in a BO3. Little Mix winning 2-1. And you know, basically, like, it's not the first time these guys have played. And also, got to say, when I said to Zerator, my congratulations on the big donos, man. Like, you know, getting all those donations for Save the Children. He thought I wanted to talk to MBK. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to MBK. I want to talk to you. Because I played with Zerator in, in Vanilla WoW. Because I helped him AoE grind Zelfarak for about 3 or 4 hours before I went to bed. And it was pretty fun, actually. Because if you watched his stream at that time... I saw so many French words, and then I just saw, like, Jose, like, everyone just yelling Jose with exclamation marks and going like, okay. Did he recognize you? No, he doesn't know what I look like. Okay. I know what he looks like, but he doesn't know what I look like. But he didn't know who I was. Like, he knew what I was referring to. So, yeah. To be fair, a lot of things are pretty much a blur to him because he's got so many things on at the same time. But he knows that I played a Frost Mage, I helped them out in Zelfarak. And it's like, I was the mage that had, like, big lag issues, not big lag issues, but, like, you know, the clutch Frost Nova. Because one of our AoE groups was saved by a really, really clutch Frost Nova in the end. But, yeah, you know, in the end, they won. I didn't talk to MBK, Body, or Lucky in the end. I was just like, just let them, you know, if they were having, like, a chill time, like, they'll sit in with their cups like this, you know, just drinking. I'm like, I don't want to bottle them. Like, seriously, like, I know they're, like, you know, big stars in CSGO, but I don't want to bottle them. They're having, you know, they're trying to chill down after, like, 2 to 3 days at DreamHack, you know. They basically, you know, it was basically the ending party of DreamHack, you know, the last party, the after party. It was kind of like that, so I don't want to disturb them, you know. Anyways, next up, OG Mihu. Do you have the stream? No, I do not. The stream wasn't on. My stream wasn't on. It was basically what happened was that it was the day when the WoW Classic came out. It was Father's Day, I believe, and I went to have dinner with my dad, and it was just after I came back. I started leveling my ult, and then basically on the hero server, one of the guys went, "Oh yeah, some guy, one of the Zerator, one of the big French streamers needs a mage. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go in. And I didn't feel like streaming because I was fucking exhausted as hell. Because the day before, I had a 24/7 hour stream on Classic. So I was like fucking exhausted as hell. Like even at the Father's Day dinner, I was fucking exhausted. And like basically afterwards, I just had to chill down. And yeah, basically I was in the group with him for 4 hours doing AoE. So it was actually pretty interesting. And I didn't realize he was the biggest French streamer. And he's like, yeah, here's his link. And I didn't realize he had 24k viewers. And I typed in my own name in chat. And they were like talking to me in French. I'm like, dude, I translated. One guy translated for me saying, "Are you the Jose?" I'm like, yes. Like, yes, we. So it was pretty good, actually. It was pretty fun. But anyway, OG closing on Mihu. I'm going to tell you guys now, this is the most expected thing on the tournament. As soon as Mihu and Thomas and all that shit, like all those good players in Envy became free agents. They were all going to be picked up. Okay, like literally, like Thomas is coming back home to Endpoint. Mihu is going to be picked up by every team in the Galaxy. Like any team in Tier 2, Tier 1. We're literally throwing money at Mihu because Mihu basically is a extremely good player. Now, yeah, so pretty much is Mihu is going to be potentially joining OG to replace MBK. And yeah. That's what's going to happen, okay? Calyx is still teamless. Yeah, Calyx is probably the only one that's still teamless. Now, they dropped Izza, and I'm going to tell you now, probably, like, I'm going to tell you now with OG dropping Izza, kind of understandable since he can't go to their country. So, I think, Mihu can because he's Polish, of course. So, yeah, that's going to be a good call as well. Now, next up is going to be an interesting team for a team looking for players is the North Trio, Gade, AZK. I know people call them AZK, but it's AZ. Or is it AZK? I'm not sure. Definitely the Danish alphabet and Kirby. So, and you got Fessor. This is actually an interesting one as well, is that Fessor's joined the team. He's left his advanced team, Blue Jays, I assume, potentially. And you got Bo-Rob as well from Heroic. So Bo-Rob obviously is still teamless. And Nico's been picked up with OG. And I've got to say, like, this looks pretty good. I'm going to say this Danish lineup. Because Fessor is actually very, very good. Like, Fessor trialed out for Singularity. And I don't know. I'm not sure how he failed his trial. But he played exceptionally well in that trial. Like, he played very, very well. And, I'm interested to see what this team's going to do here. You got some good pieces. Kirby's still out of form, like massively out of form. He's been benched in FaZe, obviously. Bo-Rob, like, he's benched on Heroic. I mean, I think they're going to wait till, these players get out of contract. Gade and AZ probably already out of contract, given that fact that North ceased operations. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this ends up in the end. So trying to reignite their careers. Essentially, this will take a very, very, big thing to do. Fessor has been very, very good in the Blue Jays. I'm going to say that now, like, really, really good. The Blue Jay lineup, I'm going to be, like, pretty disappointed in the end that Fessor's leaving, because that lineup is really good with Neno, Kivik, Serini, Han, and Fessor. Like, that lineup is actually quite fire, especially in Advanced. And, yeah, I'm going to say, Fessor is definitely a rising star. Like, all the games I've cast him, he's been very, very serviceable. That's why I was really shocked that Singularity didn't pick him up in the end. Like, Fessor chose to say no. How much would it cost to run a Tier 1, Tier 2 team? Fucking tons of money. Like, they pay some of these Tier 1 and Tier 2 players probably 6 figures. Like, if you look at the Cloud9, what they're being paid at the moment, Cloud9's not even the top salaried, okay? Like, top salaried at all. Henry G said that, like, Cloud9 is pretty low compared to some of the other teams, what they're paying their players. Now, so overall, I'm not sure if there, can be any orgs or anything like that at the moment, given the fact that Kirby, Bo-Rob, and Fessor could potentially be, essentially contracted in the end. And, exactly can't grab them, And that's going to be it for Chilltime with Jose today. Just a short episode today. I know it was about 15 minutes late. But overall, like, once again, I'd like to thank the fact that I got 75 subs yesterday, which is incredible. Like, I couldn't really believe it. Yeah, okay, Newbie just said it. Average Tier 1 player makes 25k a month. Like, what Cloud9's offering is not very cheap. And not to mention that the team pays all the accommodation, pays all the tournament entry fees and stuff like that they may have to pay. I mean, look at Complexity, for example. They pay for all the players' accommodation. They have their own LAN room, own boot camp room. I mean, they're basically bankrolled by the Dallas Cowboys. And you got to realize like a lot of these teams throw like everything in the kitchen sink at CS:GO. Okay. And there's some teams that don't, obviously. There's some teams that, just they're a bedroom org or an org that's, kind of a fledgling. Like, for example, let's say Tricked, Copenhagen Flames are just literally just a little fledgling organization. And, they'll probably pay the fees and accommodation. That's practically it. And, there's things like that, okay? Like, things like that we really, really got to take a look at. Australia's probably pay more? Yeah, Australia's probably pay a lot more than, a lot of other teams. But yeah, like, these players get paid quite a bit. And this is why, like, you can see why the orgs have been, actively searching for franchise leagues, because they pay the players quite a bit. Like, quite a bit of money, So basically what else as well is that you got to realize that these orgs also get the players' brand rights, okay? So they get their, image rights, so they can put them anywhere, So if the player becomes like a big player, the org can put their images anywhere, like, be like, join, become a Cloud9 fan and put a picture of like, Floppy up there, you want to rifle like Floppy and stuff like that. And they can do that because Cloud9 purchased that. Like, that's why Richard was getting really, really pissed off that a lot of these players were signing their image rights away to teams. And then if another like sponsor, let's just say Mountain Dew, want to sponsor a player, they have to go to Cloud9 to ask for an image rights. So Cloud9 has to be involved. That sort of thing. And, that sort of negotiation has to happen. That's why, Richard got really, really pissed off about it, is because who else are you going to fucking keep selling your image rights to, okay? Like ESL. Like, you got to get ESL to the table and stuff like that, Then, like, Face It. You got to get Face It to the table. So you got 4 fucking parties to the table discussing your fucking Mountain Dew, your sponsorship with Mountain Dew. So I come back from making lunch and Endpoint takes map 1 convincingly. Wait, Endpoint won a map? Uh-oh. Who is a team that is losing to Fnatic? Yeah, I'm going to say, as I said before, guys, Fnatic and Endpoint are not going to make it out of the group, okay? They are not going to make out of that group fucking D, okay? They are not going to make it out of group D. Neither of these two teams are making it out of group D, okay? Because, it's Endpoint and Fnatic are the bottom 2 teams at division, and they are hard bottom. I did call Endpoint being Fnatic, yeah, you did. And I did agree with you that Fnatic aren't getting through. Not a surprise, Fnatic losing. Well, I don't know why, like, with Fnatic, they've got some great players in there, but none of them are performing at the moment. And Crucial is, and Flames as well. Actually surprised that Thomas isn't in there. Like, surprised that Thomas isn't, back in there at all. Now, but anyway. That's going to be it for Chilltime for today. I'm not sure what I'm going to play after this, actually, because I don't know, I do have some callings to do. I do want to play a bit of Valheim, then I'll set my Among Us lobby. But we'll see what happens. Tomorrow, I get my monitor, my new video card and stuff all set up. Like, I got it all ready to go. I had a bit of a drama earlier today with the 3070. Is because apparently it's a 12-pin, not an 8-pin connection. And then, like, me and my brother's like, oh, fuck it, it's probably going to be something in the pack anyway to adapt and stuff like that. Yeah, even GW7 better. Like, he on paper was the same as Endpoint. Yeah, that's pretty bad, actually, for Fnatic, to be honest. Yeah, you expecting Thomas back? Yeah, so was I, actually. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for Chill Time. Next up will be just my usual stream. If you guys want to come in here for Chill Time and discuss some big issues and stuff like that, feel free to come to my Twitch channel. Also, like and comment in the YouTube video as well. And, yeah, hope to see you guys, in the stream or in the YouTube comments. Peace out, guys. Subscribe to the channel.